Ancient Secrets. Top 5 Locations of Atlantis.
The story of Atlantis originated in Egypt. The Greek statesman Solon visited Sais, Egypt, roughly 2,600 years ago, where Sankis, an Egyptian priest, told him the story of Atlantis. The story was passed down 6 generations to Plato. The information that Plato published in the Critias and the Timaeus is what Atlantis researchers are still using to this day.
Number 5. The Recut Structure in Mauritania.
There has been a recent buzz surrounding the Recut Structure, or Eye of the Sahara, as a possible ground zero for Atlantis. With channels like Bright Insight and Ancient Architects doing great episodes on the Recut Structure, they do make connections to Plato's work, and it does seem somewhat compelling. The most obvious similarity are the almost perfect concentric circles. Mainstream academics and researchers assert that this is not an impact site from a comet or an asteroid, but rather a natural rock formation. According to Greek historian Herodotus and his map of the ancient world, the Recut Structure would have been at the edge of the Atlantic, near an inlet. The only thing that adds doubt to this theory is the elevation of the structure, unless there was an anomalous volcanic bulge adding to its height within the last 10 to 11,000 years.
Number 4. Antarctica.
In 1513, an Ottoman admiral and cartographer named Piri Reis completed a map with a pretty accurate depiction of the Mediterranean and the coast of Brazil. The unusual aspect of the map is the accurate depiction of Antarctica's landmass underneath the ice, including mountain ranges and rivers. Oddly enough, there is another map with a similar landmass made by Orontius Phineas in 1532. How is that even possible when Antarctica has been covered in ice for 15 million years? Charles Hapgood came up with the crustal displacement theory, which hypothesizes that the Earth's crust can be moved or shifted during major changes in the Earth's axis. In 1958, Charles Hapgood wrote The Earth's Shifting Crust, which included a foreword written by Albert Einstein. In Fingerprints of the Gods, Graham Hancock speculates that Antarctica at some point in the not-so-distant past was located in the middle of the Atlantic and was indeed the lost civilization of Atlantis, which was based off the book When the Sky Fell. He speculates a massive pole change happened at the end of the last ice age during the Younger Dryas era, possibly due to an asteroid or comet impact that pushed a massive piece of crust to the South Pole, which is what we know as Antarctica today.
Number 3. The Bimini Islands.
Edgar Cayce made a prediction that Atlantis would be discovered when a new body of land emerges off the coast of North America around 1968 to 1969. During that time, the Bimini Road was discovered off the coast of Bimini in 1968 by a few divers. Edgar Cayce is still considered one of the most important clairvoyants of all time and is known as the Sleeping Prophet. He gave over 1,400 readings in his day. Edgar Cayce, along with other turn-of-the-century mystics such as Rudolf Steiner, were also enthralled with the idea of Atlantis being a real civilization of the past. Academics suggest Bimini Road is a result of natural underwater phenomenon, but some are not convinced. Edgar Cayce also described the famed Hall of Records, which were deposited underneath the paw of the Great Sphinx during the time of Imhotep at Saqqara. The Hall of Records supposedly had the records of Atlantis and all the knowledge of humanity up to that point. To this day, the records have never been found.
Number 2. Dona Ana National Park in Spain.
In Dona Ana National Park in southern Spain, researchers have found evidence of an ancient civilization with chains of natural circular islands and surrounding settlements. They found advanced concrete making and metallurgy for the time dating back to before the ancient Romans and Greeks to about 10,000 BC, which coincides with the Younger Dryas era. It had an inland sea with a large harbor wall that was ruined by a large influx of water, possibly after a Younger Dryas impact event which caused a flood.
Number 1. The Azores Islands.
Located off the coast of Portugal, in the middle of the Atlantic, the Azores Islands are actually some of the tallest mountains on Earth, but most of their elevation is being covered by the sea. Composed of 9 islands, they are located between 3 of the world's largest tectonic plates, which means if they were home to an ancient civilization, it would have made it a disaster waiting to happen. The people of the Azores have their own myths, where they believe their islands are the tops of the mountains that once inhabited Atlantis, but were drowned below the sea. Ignatius Donnelly, an American congressman in the 1800s, wrote the book Atlantis, the Antediluvian World. He speculated that the Azores were the potential spot for the famed Atlantis. Thanks for watching. Where do you think Atlantis is? Leave a comment below.